When we start, we're overperforming.
I would say Jimmy Butler and the Heat. As much as I do respect Jimmy, I mean, still 28, 7 and 5 on 54% shooting, leading the playoffs in steals. That's really amazing. I would say individual players, Luka. Again, as great as he is, he just continues year in, year out to be this, this generation's Larry Bird is what I think he's going to be. Who else overperforms? The whole Grizzlies team. I know they were something like 21-4 or something without Ja this year, but sometimes that could be scheduling. I was really impressed when Ja went down that they really gave the Warriors a run for their money. That could have easily gone 7. And if that game went 7 at the Grindhouse, you never know. So I think that entire team, all those dudes on that team, deserve a lot of respect. And if we're dating ourselves a little bit, even the Timberwolves, I thought Anthony Edwards and those guys did a great job. And that's it. That's all I could think of right now. I'll let you guys have the floor.
What about you, Sam?
The overperformed. I would agree with that. I think we see Jimmy Butler. I mean, we know what he's capable of, right? But he came back after a disappointing playoffs last year and has really been leading that Miami Heat team. So I will agree with that, Jimmy Butler for sure. I was going to say, I agree with the whole Grizzlies team. Absolutely. I thought personally the Grizzlies underperformed a little bit against the Timberwolves, but as a whole in the playoffs, when you look at what they did against the Warriors, I think they did.
I agree with that.
Meaning that, yes, the T-Wolves also did overperform. Underperform, I'm going to get on the Atlanta Hawks here. I will say really quickly, although we're talking about Jimmy Butler, to tie that in, right? Jimmy Butler overperformed, the Miami Heat overperformed. Miami Heat did see an Atlanta Hawks team that you did mention, they were a little bit injured. So were the Philadelphia 76ers. But I think when we talk about the Heat overperforming, I think we also have to talk about the underperformance of those Hawks, which really let them get into, kind of that up and running playoffs, momentum building, space, which, like we said, that I think the Grizzlies against the T-Wolves needed that. When you get that momentum, it can take you a lot of places. So I think when we talk about Jimmy Butler overperforming, we also have to say that the teams he played kind of let him get into that overperforming situation. So
absolutely. You look at Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young, highly underperformed. Not having Clint Capella did hurt him, but does it tell you that he needs that center to always find that screen around or whatever? Listen, Trae, it's a big boys league. You gotta know how to play in front of these guys 1 and 2. They were guarding him crazy. PJ Tucker is just an amazing defender. How you could tell how he's playing against Jason Tatum right now. Last game Grant Williams had to get in front of the ref that, hey, come on, like, you see what PJ's doing. But I understand JT gotta, JT gotta step up for himself and, just use that 6'10", height and muscle. They're pushing him off his pivot. That's what's happening. Year in and year out, PJ Tucker overperforming. You can tell, like, yeah, Jimmy Butler is, you could tell he was missed last game, but look at what PJ Tucker does. Whoever your best player is, even if you're gonna give, the team 50. PJ Tucker is going to make sure, listen, today you felt my presence, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they're both, feeling it right now. I think he's overperforming and playing great. He's a great piece to have. And also, like I said, Trae Young highly underperformed. Also, Devin Booker highly underperformed because, you expect more than just 22 points from Booker. We know him to be, 30-point, go get it, especially when you have guys like Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, James Harden highly underperformed because, bad. I think he, personally, I in the beginning started calling him the third option, and you looked at me like I was crazy, but he showed it that he is barely the third option. You know, like Tobias Harris was even putting up numbers than him, you know, and this is disappointing. You know, that I was campaigning for no max contract, but he proved me right. And I hope he doesn't get that, you know, max contract. We'll give him, you know, 5 years, 100 million, you know, get 20 a year. That's fine. Retire as a Sixer, you know, you get all this bashing, it's going to toughen you up and you're going to come out, you know, and use that experience somehow.
The time for that is past.
Listen, he still has Joel Embiid. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Because now in this market, you can't really get nothing. You can let him walk. I'm fine with that. But who are we really going to get for that max contract right now? You know, there's Zach. But I don't know if he wants to leave. You know, I heard he doesn't want to play number 2 behind DeRozan. And they're saying the Lakers. And I'm like, why would he want to go play 3 or 4 on the Lakers? Because you got Bron, you got, you know, AD, Glass D, you know, all of that.
No, Mr. Bubble.
Nah, Glass.
AD, that's Anthony Davis.
I like
that's
it.
my favorite one.
Anthony Davis.
You know, I wish he was healthy, but that was the funniest one I've
Street
seen.
clothes.
So far.
Unibrow.
Yes.
He's got a lot of nicknames. He's got a ton of nicknames.
Glass, you know, but again, a coach underperformed, Doc Rivers, you know.
Who?
Glenn, your boy Glenn. He highly underperformed.
Mama name him Glenn. I'm gonna call him Glenn. That's with 2 N's. Do you know how he got his nickname, Sam? He was wearing his coach, Rick Majerus, saw him wearing a Dr. J t-shirt. Okay? So I'm not trying to disrespect the man. I have great respect for Glenn Rivers. But his nickname comes from the guy who's the only doctor in Philadelphia. So I call him Glenn. But go ahead, Les. My bad.
Yeah, I think, you know, some of his, you know, changes that he made throughout the season, you know, you could tell it did really hurt the Philadelphia Sixers a lot. I know Joel Embiid was hurt, but prior to him, you know, being in that position, I think you can tell, like, sometimes he comes out, puts up 30, some days he comes out 19, and not because he's doing anything different, but there's days that, like, they can't get Embiid the ball. Like, how? Like, they goes 3, 4, 5 possessions without Embiid touching the ball, and then the team goes the other end, hits a shot, you know, things like that were, you know, continuous. And I know Doc has had great seasons with other teams, but I think now it's just his name. It's just his name that's riding for him because he's not performing, and I don't think he performed as well. So highly underperformed as well over there too.
He has to find a way to get more out of James Harden. Both of them should have, you know, that fire lit under them as much as people like, you know, Ben Simmons did.
Yeah,
I agree with
Harden.
that.
I mean, I don't know if Harden's taking care of his body, you know, and you can't come into the season like Shaq and play your way into shape like he did last year. And they changed the rules on him. So that was a bad combination. Yeah. But yo, I didn't do underperform. Listen, we know who underperformed in the West, the Suns. Can you imagine the entire team? But could you imagine, guys, if you had Glenn Rivers, Chris Paul, and James Harden on a team? Man, they would blow so many leads. 2-0, 3-1, like that would be, they'd probably blow the first 3-0 lead.
Yeah. The Sixers were close with the Raptors. Again, you see how, you know, he rotated everything, you know, it was that close. If that game went to 6.
Yeah.
Cause I begrudge, like Sam, like I've always joked with Les. It's like, I always put why the Clippers never made a finals or even made the conference finals. It's like, well, they were never a championship team. If you go year by year, they were never better than the Warriors, Spurs, OKC, going backwards there. Like they were never better, but they had Rivers was one problem. Chris Paul was like the third problem. The second problem was their bench, you know, and their defense. So like, I always joke and I got defensive about it, but now just in 2022, it's all of them. All of them are true.
Yeah,
it's like
Paul was 2. Give Paul 2. Let him carry a big weight. All right.
Yeah, you know, hey,
no way.
No way.
I will